Welcome to our webinar, Family Members and Guests, What to Expect at Red Raider Orientation. We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me today is Zach Manning from Orientation Services. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family Webinar Series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope this webinar will help you get prepared to attend Red Raider orientation with your students this summer and learn what to bring and what to expect. We will share some information about next steps, but know that this webinar primarily focuses on attending Red Raider orientation. Don't worry, there are other webinars focusing on topics like financial aid and tuition billing, living on campus, campus safety, first-year experiences, health and well-being, and others planned this summer. We plan to keep this webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we will open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. And you can also use that Zoom Q&A feature to ask questions during the webinar, and folks behind the scenes can help answer your questions. So please don't try to use chat or use the hand raising feature, just focus on that Q&A feature and we'll get those questions answered for you. We are recording this session and posting it to our website, so that you'll be able to review it again later or share it with others. I'll also email the recording link to the email that you use to register for this webinar, so it'll be really handy for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Zach, would you mind introducing yourself to our group?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zach Manning, work here at Texas Tech University with Orientation Services. I've been here for quite a while now, and I want to let you know we are so excited for you and your student to be coming to Texas Tech University and Red Raider orientation, and know that it takes a team. Christine, myself, we also on the Q&A, you'll see Emily or Miguel or also Michaela Part from our team who will be answering your questions. So really excited to have you all here to learn more about what to expect this summer during Red Raider orientation.
And with that in mind, Zach, would you mind just kind of getting us started off by talking about what exactly is RRO, or Red Raider orientation?
Yeah, put simply, Red Raider orientation is your students' opportunity to register for classes at Texas Tech University. So we do a lot of different things at orientation. Primarily, they're going to meet with their academic advisor. They're going to register for classes. They're going to have the opportunity to experience campus firsthand. They'll stay a night in the residence hall. They'll eat the food. They go to the rec center. They interact with current Red Raiders and meet and start creating relationships with other new Red Raiders. And for parent and family members, this is a great opportunity for you to become a part of that student success team that we are really excited to really get started with. And so, Christine, do you want to talk a little bit about why parents should attend?
Yes, so we really want parents and families to attend Red Raider orientation with their students. And the reason we want you to come is that we know that as parents and family members, you are crucial parts of our student success teams. And so we want you to be informed about the resources available to help support your student success. We also just want you to know what Texas Tech is like, what our campus community is like, what the Lubbock community is like. And we want you to have that opportunity to meet the Texas Tech faculty and staff, as well as current students that will be supporting your students all along the way. As well as having those opportunities to meet with other families who are going through the very same transition that you are, that transition from supporting a high school student to supporting a college student. Already seeing some questions in the Q&A about what if I can't come? And that's completely fine as well. You do not have to attend orientation with your student. We understand that travel's not always convenient. Know that information is available to you in the RRO family portal that you have access to. Attending in person, again, just gives you that little bit of extra opportunity that you can have to really visit with the folks on campus that are supporting your student. And now we're going to shift just a little bit and talk about, there is a guest fee for attending orientation. So what all does that cover?
Yeah, so for our 2-day sessions that your students will be attending, adult guests, that's anybody ages 8 or over, there's a $35 guest fee. And as you can see, any children, siblings, cousins under the age of 7, there's free. And so I know a question even popped up, like, what does that cover? Is there room and board available for guests? And so the guest fee does cover a few things. It covers your materials. It covers on our day 1 dinner, we have fajitas, so bring your appetite. You'll receive a Texas Tech branded guest shirt that you'll be able to wear when you go back home. and show off and be proud of your students' decision to be a Red Raider. We have City of Lubbock bus tours that are included, parking on campus that we'll talk about here in a little bit, our Red Raider orientation crew and staff, and other administrative and technology costs. There is not housing or on-campus rooms available to guests. So if you're a guest, you can go to our website, which is just www.orientation.ttu.edu, to find out more about local hotels that have special rates for guests, or find an Airbnb, a VRBO, or whatever works best for you. But those are the different items that are covered by the guest fee. Housing is not a part of that.
Awesome. And so you also kind of alluded to that schedule, and I'm seeing questions pop up about schedule. So let us go over kind of some of these schedule highlights. So on day one of your students' orientation session, that's going to begin at 10 a.m. and that's going to be student and guest check-in. So parking, I'll show you a map of that here in just a little bit. Parking is going to be at our Z2 parking lot at 15th and University. And check-in is nearby in the Student Union building. And so during check-in, your student will receive some items that they're going to need during orientation, and they'll also have the opportunity to get their room key for staying on campus. And as Zach mentioned, families and guests will need to arrange for hotel accommodations during orientation. As guests, you'll receive a clear bag, which is going to be great for bringing back to campus for athletic events such as Family Weekend. It'll have some goodies inside just for you, including a Red Raider family decal, a double T lapel pin, and a postcard from home that you can write for your student. After check-in, there's opportunities for your students to get some assistance with removing holds on their account. You'll have a general welcome session that's for everyone, as well as some college-specific welcome sessions. So that means that some of you will be going off to the Rawls College of Business. Some of you will be visiting with the College of Human Sciences, et cetera. After that college welcome, which is a great opportunity for you to get to know more about your students' academic programs, students will be doing some individual group student meetings, getting to know better some of their other students in their majors, et cetera. And the Red Raider family session will happen for you back at the Student Union. And that's going to really be talking about how to support your students' transition to Texas Tech. So during that session, you'll learn all about your Red Raider support network at Tech and how to get involved as a parent or family member of a Texas Tech student. And then after that session, it's kind of choose your own adventure. There's lots of breakout sessions that you can attend to learn more about specific topics, such as financial aid, student business services, how your student can get involved, and more. Also during this time is a campus resource fair, and which is a great way to learn about all the departments that are here to support your students. They'll have tables, giveaways, folks to talk to, and information during that campus resource fair. Everyone will have dinner together. Zach mentioned to bring your appetite for some great fajitas. And then after dinner, students will go off to have some wonderful social opportunities with other students on campus. And our parents and family members will go to our McKenzie Merckett Alumni Center for the parent and family social. And so that's a great time to relax and unwind, pick up that RRO guest t-shirt that Zach mentioned earlier, enjoy some beverages, and meet other Red Raider families. And so this is important to note that students will have programming till late in the evening. So after your social is over at the Merckett Alumni Center, use that time to get out and enjoy the Lubbock community, or if you're like me, enjoy the comfort of your hotel room. And then we'll switch over into day two.
Yeah, so thanks, Christine. One note that Christine mentioned that can take place on the first day of orientation that I really want to encourage you and your students to address as soon as possible. And those are those holds. The TSI hold. I've seen some questions pop up about TSI. Take care of that now. If they need to test now. So that's done, and they can either be advised or be compliant by the time Red Raider orientation comes around. Another one is your immunization records. Your students' immunization records will be uploaded via MedProctor. And then the final one is housing. Those are the three major holds that they will encounter during orientation. But if they're not taken care of before orientation, that's going to impact their ability to register for classes during orientation. So take time, take the month of May and knock those out, just so that it's It's done and it won't impact them, and it'll be much less stressful whenever you get to orientation, because what we're going to do is at 8:30 a.m. after breakfast that's provided for students, and they'll pick up their student IDs. They'll also have the opportunity to talk to study abroad about how does that play into their college career. Studying abroad, breakfast, pick up their IDs. We'll have a registration preparation session at 8:30 a.m. where we will start talking about what it means to be a student, how to be successful as a student, and how to register for classes. And so we'll do that. At that point, students and guests will head off to their academic colleges, right? As Christine mentioned earlier, you'll go to the College of Business, to Human Sciences, Visual and Performing Arts, wherever your student is, and your student will be doing advising and registration, and you'll be doing advising preparation also, and registration preparation, so you know how to support your student when you go back home in the summer and your student has issues or concerns. You can say, I know exactly what we're talking about. Let's log in and do it. Please note that it does look different for every college. We have the College of Arts and Sciences, which is our largest college on campus. They're going to have to do things differently than our College of Education, which is one of our smaller colleges here. So please note that everybody will be doing something a little bit differently, but we are going to have advising for parents and family members so that you can be prepared to assist your student when y'all head back home. Again, as mentioned, financial aid, student business services, as well as our military and veteran programs offices will be set up so you can have a one-on-one conversation with them to talk specifically about the needs of your students. So that's really important to make sure you take advantage of that. Also, you can contact them now. For student financial aid and scholarships, your student has a personalized financial aid advisor who can reach out to them and to answer any questions y'all might have and start that conversation early. But if you need to wait until orientation to do that, we can definitely do it. We also have a few different tours. Again, touring residence halls. Your students will be staying in Hornet. So they will need to bring linens for that extra long twin sheet, and then they'll need to bring towels, but they're going to get a little taste of what it's like to stay in the residence hall. They'll also be able to, during orientation, tour Talkington Hall, as well as Stengel Murdo. And so those three residence halls, between staying at Hornet, going to Talkington, and going to Stengel Murdo, that represents a vast majority of all of our residence halls on campus. So you'll be able to do that, to see what it looks like to actually be in a room, in a space. The library, Christine mentioned all of our resources that we provide for students here on campus. The library is a great one. So make sure you and your student head over to the library to learn about their personal librarian and see the facilities and know how they're going to utilize that to be successful in the classroom when they arrive for the fall. City of Lubbock. I know most folks are not from Lubbock, so we have charter buses that provide about a 1-hour tour of Lubbock to kind of see what it is. What does it look like? What can you expect when you come back to visit? What can your student expect while they're living here in Lubbock? Because they're definitely going to be a citizen of Lubbock once they move here. So take advantage of that. We recommend, I know travel plans and schedules have been asked. Go to our website, www.orientation.ttu.edu, and you'll see information about the schedule specifically. But please don't plan to leave until after 2 p.m. on the second day of orientation. We want to make sure that you're taken care of, that your student is taken care of, that all your questions are answered prior to you leaving. And we don't want the additional stress of trying to make a flight or anything like that prior to doing that. But most folks can make it home on that second day of orientation, as long as you, like I said, make plans to travel after 2 p.m.
All right, so that you get kind of a visual look at where all of these things are happening. We've prepared this little map for you. So if you look at the screen, in the red circle is the Z2 parking lot where you'll be parked during Red Raider orientation. And this is at the Hornet Residence Hall where students will be staying. Most of the meetings and things will happen across the street, and this is including check-in over at our Student Union building, often called the Sub. And so that's a short walk. You can also see on here that the Mackenzie Murcutt Alumni Center, where the parent and family social will be happening on the evening of day one, is also nearby. This is on the southeast corner of campus, University and 19th Street. And speaking of parking, this is where you'll want to stay. You'll want to watch your signage and make sure you're parked in the right part of the slot, right by Hornet Residence Hall. And then Zach has some additional information about parking.
Yeah, so you'll be parking at the Hornet Residence Hall, which is on the east side of our campus. So you'll enter on 15th Street, but primarily 17th Street. Look out, we'll have some big red flags that say welcome. So you'll see those parked there. After 5 p.m., you can park anywhere on campus. So when you arrive for orientation, please don't park anywhere else. These are reserved spots for our faculty and staff. If you do have a handicap placard or a handicap permit, you can park in any handicap space anywhere on campus. So know that. But during your orientation, please park in the Hornet Parking Lot. And prior to your orientation session, about a week out, you and your student will receive an email with instructions to register your vehicle. It's pretty simple. You'll just put in your license plate, number, and state, and you're ready to go. So please note that if you're renting a vehicle when you get to Lubbock, we can also help you in registering that vehicle. But that's where you'll park in the Hornet Residence Hall. It's a short walk over to the Student Union Building. And then as Christine mentioned, you'll have the parent social there at the McKenzie Market Alumni Center. And then it's a short walk right over to your car that evening. But yes, that's where you'll be parking. Please keep an eye out. Please keep an eye out for signage on campus about where you can and can't park, because we just want to make sure that nothing happens to your vehicle there. So please keep an eye out for that. And again, if you have a handicap placard, you can park anywhere, any handicap spot on campus.
I've seen lots of questions pop up in the Q&A about what to bring to Red Raider orientation. And so there is an extensive list of what students should bring at the www.orientation.ttu.edu. Yes, that does include bedding for the residence hall. I think Zach mentioned that earlier. It's also good for students, if they can, to bring a laptop so that they can do some of that kind of pre-work and looking at class schedules and things that will help them with course registration. But here's some things that you as a parent or family member or guest would want to bring. You might need to bring some financial documents if you want to take advantage of those individual meetings with financial aid or military and veterans programs, et cetera. Though we mentioned that some of those places where you'll be parking, where check-in is, where the social is, those buildings are close together. But to go off to those college meetings, the college welcome and the college advising sessions on day 2, you might be doing some walking. So make sure that you're wearing comfortable shoes. Casual, comfortable clothing is absolutely perfect for orientation. You know, again, if you want to take some of those campus tours or go on some of the housing tours, it can be very hot outside. And Texas Tech is a large campus. So plan on doing some walking and plan on being dressed appropriately for that. Though it's going to be hot outside, it is Texas and it is summer. Know that some of our meeting rooms can be quite chilly, especially in that student union building. So it's always a good idea, if you're the kind of person that gets a little cold in meeting rooms, to bring a light jacket or a cardigan. Make sure that your student has money for meals and incidentals that are not included in orientation. Student immunization records can be submitted online, but if you need to speak to someone about those at orientation, you can have those materials along with you as well. And so now a little bit more on kind of what to expect with some of these sessions.
Yeah, and Christine, I'm going to talk a little bit about what students should bring with them. A lot of those same things. They need to bring probably a light jacket. They'll receive 2 t-shirts from Red Raider Orientation when they get here. Their first official Texas Tech t-shirts will be received, so they'll have those. Also bedding and towels for their stay in the residence hall. Those are extra long twin sheets. That information is also available on our website, www.orientation.ttu.edu. Again, they'll also go to the rec center. So if they want to bring a swimsuit or something like that, they definitely can. If they don't want to, that's okay too. But make sure they're bringing those. Also a light jacket, right? And just in case they get a little cool in the buildings there. And so please note that. Seeing a lot of questions coming in, we're going to continue to answer those as we move through. But what you and your student can expect is that y'all will be together for a vast majority of the time, but there are also times where y'all be separate. We have on the afternoon of day 1, it's called a Raider to Raider. So it's our current students talking to your students about what life is going to be like as a student at Texas Tech University. Meanwhile, you are going to be getting a presentation from our Parent and Family Relations office, Christine's office, about how you can be a part of that support system when you go home and they're still here in Lubbock. So sometimes you'll be together, sometimes you'll be apart, but we want to make sure everybody's prepared and ready to have your student be a Red Raider. Again, your students will be meeting a lot of other current students and a lot of other new students, getting to interact with their academic advisor, with deans of their colleges, financial aid advisors. They're going to be interacting with a number of different people, and so will you. because we recognize that this is an entire family's decision to send their student to Texas Tech. So we want to make sure that your student is comfortable in their decision to be here, but also that you are comfortable with that. So with that, meeting their advisor, again, on that second day, that's the day your students will register for classes. Every college looks a little bit differently. So just be prepared that no matter what, you're going to be hearing information about how to help your student as they're going through registration, as they're being advised. But all of our colleges and advisors, they're here for your student's success, right? And so they're going to be helping your student throughout that process, and know that you are going to be empowered and you're going to be provided tools to help your student also. So again, it does vary by college. That next point, you will not pay tuition at orientation. Okay, in late July, early August, your student at their Texas Tech email will receive their bill. Okay, so make sure they are checking their Texas Tech email, keeping on it on a daily basis. Check that and keep an eye out for that. That's whenever your student will receive that bill that they will need to pay for the fall semester. I know a few questions have come up about paying their orientation fee. Their orientation fee is automatically added to that tuition and fees to that bill. So your student does not have to pay their orientation fee up front, but guest fees, you can still add guests today. You can add guests up until the week of, and that guest fee, that $35 that we mentioned earlier, that does need to be paid up front. So that's a little bit about what to expect, but know that you've got so many faculty and staff here at Texas Tech University that, again, want to help answer your questions. So please come with your questions. Even when you get home, if you have more questions after orientation, please reach out to us. Again, we want to make sure that y'all are ready to go. So that's kind of a little bit about what to expect at Red Raider orientation.
And I'm glad you mentioned, asking questions. So, really make the most of your time at Red Raider orientation. Again, you will have access to visit with a lot of faculty and staff that are here to support your students. So don't leave orientation without asking questions. There's plenty of opportunities built in to do that. Make sure that you connect with our staff. Parent and Family Relations is your office on campus to help support you as you help support your students. So make sure you connect with us. You'll have opportunities to do that during the family session on day one, and also we'll have a table on day 2 that you can visit with us. And again, make sure you make those opportunities to meet other families while you're at orientation. They're going through some of the same things that you are, taking on that adventure of supporting a college student in the family. So while you're off at those college welcome sessions, you'll meet other families. When you're in those advising for family sessions at your colleges, take advantage of those times and meet some other families from your areas. I know Zach had mentioned about checking email addresses. Any other updates that students should be watching for?
Yeah, I would say, definitely check that. Also, a really valuable resource that is the RRO family portal. Your students were able to add you to that whenever they registered for orientation. And that's where they'll also add you. If you've not been registered as a guest yet, do that, because that's where you can find out information about how to support your student right now as they're moving through this time into transitioning into a student at Texas Tech. But yes, your academic college will be reaching out to you via that Texas Tech email. Financial aid, housing, different opportunities for involvement, all of that is going to be going through their Texas Tech email. Also, social media is a great place to be. A lot of students find out about different things through the social media from Texas Tech, from different offices and departments. So make sure they're checking their Texas Tech email regularly. And, is that something, you might help prepare them for? Like, how does this look? What does it look like to check your email regularly? What information are we receiving through that? I would say read those emails very carefully. There's a lot of information in some of them. So make sure as your students are going through those, they are reading them and understanding what exactly the expectations are after that email. I'd say also, as they have registered for orientation, their online modules, which are required for them to complete prior to orientation, those take about 60 to 90 minutes for them to complete. But there's a lot of information in there that your student can go and access at any time until classes begin. So checking your Texas Tech email, using the RRO family portal, going through their online modules. The admitted student task list is another great resource. I know a few questions have come up about TSI, about placement exams. Go into your student's task list. That will tell them exactly what they need to do prior to orientation. Another question I saw came up about AP exams, and that's a great conversation that make sure your student is having with their academic advisor, saying that, hey, I've got this coming. The scores won't be in until July, so they know how to properly advise your students.
Let's talk about just a few kind of next steps. I know a lot of questions have come up about move-in and what does that look like. And, you know, as Zach mentioned, it's so important for your student to keep on top of their Texas Tech email. Your students will receive an email directly from University Student Housing about signing up for a time slot for moving in. On your screen, the general housing website is there for you. They have lots of information specifically related to move in. So be sure and check that out. They have everything down to room dimensions and how that time slot program works. All that information is there for you. A lot of folks will ask, well, if move-in starts, you know, a couple weeks before classes start, what will my student do during that time? Know that there's Raider Welcome. These are activities and events that happen from August 13th all the way through September 2nd. Those are events designed to get students involved, meeting other students. A lot of these activities come with free food and t-shirts. That's how we lure them in. But that really helps them feel that they fit in on campus, they belong on campus, and they're able to find those opportunities to get involved with other students. Zach, do you want to talk about Red Raider Camp?
I definitely will. Thank you, Christine. Sorry, I was typing. I was trying to help answer some questions. So Red Raider Camp is an excellent opportunity for your student to really take another step in preparing to be a Red Raider. So Red Raider Camp is an optional but highly encouraged program. It takes place in Brownwood, Texas. If you're not familiar with Brownwood, if you draw a triangle between Abilene, Austin, and Fort Worth, it's kind of in the middle there. But it's at the 4-H Conference Center, and don't let the word camp intimidate you or your student. They're staying in air-conditioned cabins. The food is amazing, but it's a great opportunity to experience history and traditions here at Texas Tech University, to learn about the history of the Masked Rider, to do a bell circle, high ropes, low ropes. There's a pool party, there's a dance, there's small groups where our current students are really providing, kind of insider tips and suggestions on how to be successful while at Texas Tech. It is a lot of fun. Spaces are filling up. There are 4 sessions available. You'll see those will take place in late July and early August. We really recommend that your student check out Red Raider Camp as an opportunity to take care of that social piece, right? At orientation, they've taken care of business. They've taken care of advising and registration, financial aid. But Red Raider Camp is where they meet their new best friends, right? It's where they know who's going to be on their intramural team or who they're going to go eat at One Guys with. That's really what camp is designed to help those students in socially preparing for life at Texas Tech.
Some other important next steps are to make sure that you visit the Parent and Family Relations webpage. It's pretty easy to remember. It's just parent.ttu.edu. One of the important things you can do is look at our webinars page. That's where you signed up for this webinar. One that I really want to draw your attention to, we've seen lots of activity in the Q&A about TSI and about tests and how do I know about taking tests. There's a great webinar recording that we have from earlier in the spring called Removing Holds. So that webinar recording is there for you. I encourage you to watch it if you have those questions about things like TSI, immunization holds, and how to take care of those. Zach mentioned it's very important to take care of those things prior to your orientation experience. That way your student has plenty of time to do all the things they need to do. So check out that recording. And then there's also other webinars that you can go ahead and register for if you haven't already. We've got one later this week on the first-year Raider experience. That'll talk about a great class called Raider Ready that your students can sign up for while they're at orientation to really help them make that transition to Texas Tech and learn about resources to support them. Those of you that have questions about financial aid, again, you can get some information that on June 7th, in addition to what you're going to learn at orientation. So do check out our webinar series, sign up for our newsletter. We keep the conversation going long after you've attended orientation with information on timely topics to discuss with your student every month, reminders about scholarships, jobs for your students, ways your students can get involved, and things for you to do as parents and family members. We also want to invite you to Family Weekend, September 29th and 30th. This is going to be a great weekend for you to come, get discounted tickets to a football game, join the Parents Association, for some of their events. There's also some free stuff going on during family weekend. So save the date, mark your calendars, go ahead and make hotel reservations for that weekend. You can always cancel them if you aren't able to come. And if that weekend's not convenient for you, we have a wonderful family days calendar that's just really things that you can do year round, whenever it's convenient for you to visit your student. More ways to get information about orientation.
Sorry about that, Christine. Yeah, we are here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Central Standard Time. Myself, Emily, Michaela, Miguel, who you all have been chatting with today. Also our student assistants, Brenda, we have a team here that we want to help you out. If you have not visited our website yet, please go do so. There's a lot of information on there, specifically for you and for your students, to make sure you are both prepared for coming to Red Raider orientation. It's just www.orientation.ttu.edu. You can email us. It's simply orientation@ttu.edu, or give us a call. Like I said, we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Central Standard Time. Give us a call at 806-742-2993. Or if you like Instagram, you can follow us at TTU Orientation. Your students should also follow us on there. There's a lot of great information in there to make sure they're ready. But please, if you haven't yet, go to our website, go see the resources that are there to help your student be prepared for orientation.
All right, now we have lots of open questions in the Q&A, but keep those coming. While we're getting to those, we are over time, but I did want to ask a couple of things live, just because I'm seeing them come up so often. TSI is coming up a lot. Zach, can you describe, like, how does a student know if they have a hold? What does that look like?
Yeah, so TSI, it's the Texas Success Initiative. This is a state mandate that every student going to a public institution in the state of Texas has to meet certain academic requirements, right? So your student might have been accepted via the test optional manner, but that does not mean that they are exempt from TSI. So we need to get test scores in, whether it be SAT or ACT scores, into campus. So again, they might be exempt, but if we don't have their test scores, we can't show that they're exempt. So make sure your students have submitted their SAT or ACT scores. Miguel or Morgan, if you can put it, the link to the TSI website through the registrar's office, it's a valuable tool. It'll help your student figure out whether or not they are exempt and what those scores are based on different tests to get them exempt. If they are not exempt and they need to test, they can test from home, right? So that's why I definitely recommend take care of it now, take care of it in the month of May, while they can really focus on that and get those scores in. So contact, like I said, Miguel is putting the link in the chat here pretty soon. You'll see that. There it is. So Miguel just put it in the chat there. And so go visit that website, see if your student is exempt. If they're not, what they need to do to test, but we can take care of all that testing well in advance of orientation. If your student doesn't test before orientation, the first thing we're going to tell them to do is go take a test. So, and that's, students don't succeed in that situation. So I encourage you and your students to visit that website from the registrar's office and take care of that TSI as soon as possible. And Tammy, I just happened to see your question. If they don't do well, that's okay. They're going to be advised to different courses they have to take to get them ready to where they need to be. And so again, TSI advising will take place during orientation.
And then I would like to also just remind folks, we do have that wonderful webinar recording where we talked with TSI advising, the registrar's office, and our academic testing center, as well as housing and student health, about all the different holds that your student might experience and how to remove them prior to orientation. So please do revisit that as well.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was going to add, I've seen a few folks question, how do I get added as a guest? Your student will do that. They can log in at any time to see, they can add you. It's a live system. So I know some of y'all are asking, can we get into an earlier session? Again, it's a live system. We've been having students register since October. So y'all can always log back into the orientation system through our website to add guests, to check and see if there's an earlier date available. You can do all that on our website.
Good. That's a very good point. We are at time. I encourage you to still keep typing your questions in if you have them. We will stay behind the scenes to answer those. We also have on our screen a code to a quick survey. We'd love to hear from you about how our presentation was today. And we've also got our contact information on the screen for you. So at this time, I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to turn our cameras off, but know that we are still answering your questions if you've put them in the chat. So keep those coming. So I want to thank you, Zach, for presenting with us today. And thanks everyone who came to our webinar. We cannot wait to meet you at orientation this summer.